And let's now have a look at various theories of the meaning in a language. To start with, we'll talk about meaning holism, which is usually known as finding the meaning within a language. Roughly speaking, it argues, as the Portner has also furthered it, that the meaning of a word or language are found in more words or in the language. I mean, when we ask about the meaning of a word, we are replied with more words. For example, if you say, what is tall? You might get an answer, something that is not short. Similarly, if you ask, what is jasmine? You might find an answer that it's a kind of flower. So, what are we getting in fact? We are getting more words, a kind of flower. But this becomes circular. I mean, digging out the meanings of a word and you find more words. In order to understand this, we need to understand more meaning. For example, the meanings of the word kind and the meanings of the word flower. If you already know these words, only then you will be able to understand the meaning of the word jasmine. Otherwise, you won't be able to understand. So, whole this process of knowing a meaning through words, meanings of the words through words becomes circular. And this becomes very difficult and challenging and complex especially for the new learners of a language. A word is defined by the terms of some of the very words which it helps us to define. I mean, what we get as a response to the meaning of a word, we need to define them also. This view is similar to overall view of the meaning holism, which came to us in early 60s, and then it held a sway over the theories of meaning which came later on. And it argues that meanings of the words are found in their relationship with other words in the language. For example, the relationship of antonymy, synonymy, hyponymy, or polysemy, or any other relationship. As I said earlier, a part of the meaning of the word tall may be found in its antonymy, as we say something that is not short. It also leads us to imply that meaning of the words are found in their functional uses in a certain way. For example, how we imply a word tall in a certain way or in a certain situation, we understand the meaning. For example, we employ it in opposition to the word short. There are certain issues of this theory of holism. For example, we are not sure that which relations are more important to semantics. I mean, relationship between the words. A radical holist probably would claim that all connections between words, from synonymy to antonymy and from antonymy to polysemy, cynic decay, they all are important to understand a language. But look how complex it would become for a language learner. If you're learning a second language, you need to grab and understand all these relationships between the words of that language in order to become a proficient users of the meanings of those words. And this becomes very challenging and complex. So this leads us to believe that language is a strongly interconnected, a complex system of signs and symbols, which it would become very difficult for an ordinary reader or listener to understand. And in this way, the words would probably become relative to other words, and their meanings would also be understood in the same fashion. I mean, if you understand the meaning of a word, you would relatively understand the meaning of other words related to it. Some of the critics of this theory also argue that how this theory proposes the meaning as being arbitrary in a language. In fact, language and its meaning are not that arbitrary. There must be certain system to the language, its words, and their meanings. Overall, we can sum up that this theory of meaning holism may not help us a lot to understand meanings and analyze them in a scientific way. So we need to look for a more comprehensive theory which might help us to understand meaning in a scientific way.